We've made a happy Monday night, everyone. Jason and the Simpademic coming at you here with a rather interesting and intriguing point here for you. And what I want to talk about is, I've mentioned this before on the channel a few times, and that's I am somebody who has endured more than his share of adversity, and my boss, even just in this past week, called me the toughest person that she's ever met. And so I am on the lookout, as I've mentioned before. I'm on the lookout for a woman who has a very similar background to myself. She has, any future Mrs. Simpademic will have toughed out very difficult situations, and I'm not on the lookout for a damsel in distress, because this woman has bailed herself out against incredible odds several times, just like myself. With this knowledge, I don't have to approach as many women, because I already know enough about certain ones that they don't meet this they don't have this quality, they don't have this history. And if they don't have this history, why am I going to try to date them if I know that they're not it? That's the whole purpose of dating, is to try to figure out, if somebody is right for you or not. But in my particular case, because I'm on the lookout for a very specific type of characteristic, they need to match my back. Well, I mean, you can't exactly match anybody's individual background. That's impossible. But on the same token, they will need to at least be in the same ballpark as myself as far as overcoming adversity and hurdles in the past against very long odds. These are things that I have done, and these are things that she will have done too. No damsel in distress. She's bailed herself out so many times. She's bailed herself out repeatedly. Done it against long odds. Fought the battles. Turned herself around. I am on the lookout, not chasing, not necessarily pursuing, but I am kind of keeping my eyes out there for a woman who is in my category. And it's important to me, because this is going to be somebody who's going to understand those my particular background, the battles I've had to fight, the hurdles I've had to overcome, the things I've had to survive. She's in the same ballpark. Probably, highly unlikely she has the exact same series of things, but on the same token, if I know that this is the type of woman that I'm looking for, I can disqualify many of them that I see immediately. I don't need to approach. I don't need to ask. I don't need to try to date them, because I already know that they're not it. And so this type of discipline saves me the potential risks that come with approaching women in this particular day and age. Being somebody who has caught false harassment charges, not charges, I've never been criminally charged, but false harassment accusations within a church, no less, which is not the same church I'm at present. In fact, it's a church that I had attended for a while, and after this happened, I went back to my old one, which is my current one, because they made life very difficult for me on purpose, because they sided with the women, and I'm pretty sure that reaction on their behalf had to do with legal ramifications, because if you don't believe a woman who's making these types of allegations, they could wind up coming after you and suing you as a church. So I'm sure that they did this as a defense mechanism, and therefore they ran me out on by design, and targeted me to try to get me to leave on my own, which eventually I did. They eventually got their way, but I didn't lose. I won, because I'm back in a new home now, my new old home, and they have my time, my efforts, my energy, my volunteer time, and some of you may not like to hear this, but some of my money too. I am a believer in contributing generously. to a place of faith. These places don't run for free, and this one in particular does a lot of work in the community. I don't know how many churches out there will have a church service broadcast from a state prison, but this one did. These are not the actions of a church that are going for money. So anyway, back to the original topic. I digress. I have a very, very narrow sense of who any future Mrs. Simpademic is going to be. And if I can eliminate women without even approaching or asking or trying for dates, then I'm saving myself the heartache of approaching a high volume of women in this toxic environment that we live in these days, with the gender wars between men and women, MGTOW versus 4B. The less hassle I have to go through, the better off I am. And if you have a very specific standard, such as I do, or maybe even smaller specific standards, like many guys do, if you know what you're looking for, you're not going to be randomly firing off your shot at everybody that comes along. There are, even if certain, my gym has a fair number of attractive women, and I'm not going to be shooting my shot at everybody no matter how hot they are, because that's not what's important to me, and I don't think it should be important to you either. I don't think physical attraction should be the come-all, be-all, end-all. Physical attraction is something that, it draws us in, gets our attention, which I think is what is the purpose of it. And I think God made it that way by design. That if we see somebody and they're attractive, that they get our attention. But it's their personality that keeps our attention, and it's their character that makes us fall in love with them. And I think that's the way it should be. And so that's why having this very specific quality and background in any woman is very important to me. Because I think putting two people together with our particular backgrounds, adversity, overcoming, perseverance, toughness, against all odds, we will not need each other to bail each other out, because we've bailed ourselves out so many times. I know I have overcome many things when the odds are just absolutely stacked against me and I'm back up against a wall. And so will she. It will be a case where we won't need each other, but we will want each other. And I think having core characteristics that are compatible, such as this, are what makes things work. It's not chemistry, it's compatibility. And having that already narrowed down for myself, and having that kind of discipline to not let the other things distract me, saves me a lot of heartbreak, saves me a lot of suffering, and a lot of what am I looking for here? Well, it saves me from even more adversity. The odds of me being falsely accused again, or false allegations coming to me again, are much lower these days than they were back then. Because I'm not approaching every woman out there, because I know exactly what I'm looking for. And I can eliminate probably 90% of the women out there without ever having to ask them, because in the course of just normal interactions, I will just know that they don't meet that. They don't meet my background. They don't meet my standards. And so if you don't have a set of standards right now, or a set of qualifications that you're looking for in a future partner, here's my suggestion. Get some. Get some. Build some. What will you believe is compatible with you? We're not looking for chemistry here. We're not looking for a dopamine hit. We're looking for compatibility. What kind of woman will make you and her a power couple? What kind of person would be a potential partner that you're with, where putting you two together will be more powerful than either of you apart? This is the type of thing I'm looking for. And knowing exactly what I'm looking for, on the lookout for, I should say, I don't pursue, I don't chase. Because as I said before, if you're chasing, they're running. So that's my challenge for all you guys out there tonight. If you don't have a set of qualifications or standards that you're looking for, you need to develop some. And think long and hard about this, about who is going to bring out the best of you and vice versa. What kind of person is going to be a partner that is going to make you better and is going to not be an emotional rush, but somebody who you're going to be able to partner with and pair with and improve each other, where 1 + 1 will equal 4. Anyhow, this is it for tonight. Have a happy Monday night. Get some rest, folks. I will be back at the gym tomorrow. When I'm back, I will be back on again for the Tuesday night edition. You folks, just everybody be nice to each other, be kind to each other. The world could use a little bit more of that today. And as I've said before, I root for everybody's relationships to succeed, because the world in this particular environment, particularly on social media, we need all the success stories we can get right now in this day and age, particularly here in the West. So anyway, that's it, guys. You folks have a blast of a night. Get some rest. Get ready to take on the world tomorrow. Peace out, homies.